everyone, Stephanie here, and I am hopping on to give you another mini masterclass. Today we're going to be talking about different types of oils that we can use in our cooking. So we're going to go through some really bad and we're going to go through some really good. So remember, this is a no judgment zone, but I do want to share with you what the research says, what you should be doing, and what you should be transitioning to if you have not done that yet. So up first, we are going to be talking about a super popular oil that has been used in our country from the earliest that I can remember, and that's vegetable oil. So we have pure vegetable oil, which, you know, the Crisco brand is probably a staple in so many homes. We also have the pure canola brand, or the pure canola, also the Crisco brand. And then we have the Crisco baking sticks, which has been used as a substitute for butter in a lot of baking. Like, I can remember growing up, my grandmother had cans of Crisco that she would use to make all the pie crusts and any baked goods, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, if we knew then what we knew now. So Crisco and, vegetable oil and canola oil. Canola oil is derived from corn. Vegetable oil is usually soybean oil, which is what this is, or it's a combination of soybean, canola, peanut, sunflower, safflower. You could get a mix of different varieties of oil in a vegetable oil. Back in the 60s, 70s, there was a widespread craze that we had to completely move away from butter and replace our saturated fat with vegetable oil. Now, vegetable oil was supposed to come in and save the day, but what ended up happening is that people ended up getting sicker. We had widespread health decline across the country, and people started to actually have more cardiovascular issues, and we saw more heart attacks happen as a result of consumption of high consumption of omega-6s. So omega-6s, when they are ingested and converted in the body, they're converted to inflammation. So now we have all of these inflammatory issues largely widespread by the diet, and one of the contributing factors to that are the different types of oils that we use in our home to cook, and also the oils that are still being used on a large scale, widespread basis in restaurants. So if you eat out at restaurants, you 100% are being exposed at some point along the way to an omega-6 inflammatory oil. So let's reduce that toxicity load and make sure that we are choosing very wise oils when we are at home cooking. And if you have a restaurant that does not use something like a vegetable oil or a canola oil or a peanut oil that's super, super cheap, you know, props to them. You know, that would be a good place for you to continue to go to because it's hard to find. So if you are currently using vegetable oil, canola oil, any of the Crisco products in general, this is actually one place where I would recommend there be a non-negotiable. We need to not use these highly inflammatory oils if we want to achieve better health and wellness. So, you know, there's a lot of, you know, wiggle room with different types of diets and even different types of foods because of the concept of bioindividuality, which I completely stand behind. However, when it comes to these inflammatory cooking oils, this is a non-negotiable, and I would advise you to stop using these oils that I just mentioned as soon as possible. And I oftentimes give the advice, well, you know, you could go ahead and finish what you have and then just not buy it again. Not in this case. This is poison to your body. I would get rid of it as soon as possible. One other note about the Crisco baking sticks. And this also comes in that, you know, lovely blue tub that we all know so well. I'm going to read you a few of the ingredients on the back of the Crisco cooking oil. Soybean oil is the first one, which I'm not surprised. Then we go into fully hydrogenated palm oil, partially hydrogenated palm and soybean oils, and then like 5 ingredients that I can't pronounce, plus artificial flavoring. So right off the bat, our body doesn't know what to do with 99.9% of everything that's in this container. So of course it's going to be hard on the digestive system, and it's also going to be interfering with absorption from other foods that we are eating and contributing to inflammatory issues in our body. The other thing I want to point out is that anything that says hydrogenated or partially hydrogenated in the 2 ingredients on this list indicates that this product is a trans fat. We know now that trans fats are a killer. They cause cancer, they cause severe cardiovascular health issues, and we know 100% that we need to stay away from them, to the point where the marketing companies aren't even allowed to include trans fats on labels anymore. So if you look at any label, you're going to see trans fat 0. However, companies have gotten really smart and tricky, because if you can keep the trans fat below a certain percentage within the product, you're allowed to list it on the ingredient label without actually listing it on the nutritional fact label. So the fact that we read hydrogenated palm oil, partially hydrogenated palm and soybean oils indicates that this product is in fact a trans fat, even though the label says 0 trans fats. So this is a big takeaway from today's lesson. If you are in the store looking at labels, which we all need to do, you take your product off of the shelf, flip it over. One of the things I want you to, especially if you're a beginner, one of the things I want you to look at, I want you to see if there's anything on that label that says hydrogenated or partially hydrogenated. That oil has been combined with hydrogen. It's been combined with a hydrogen molecule. When that happens, it makes the product become more visually appealing sometimes. If you think of like some of the baked goods and like Girl Scout cookies. I believe Girl Scout cookies, at least the last time I looked like 2 or 3 years ago, indicated 0 trans fats on the nutritional facts label, but then when you read the ingredients, there was a partially hydrogenated oil in that product. And it also makes them super, super shelf stable. So if I were to put this in my cupboard and not touch it for the next 40 years or longer, I could pull it out, open it up, it would be the exact same as it is today. So if you're using these products and you're wondering why you're not progressing in your health and wellness journey, you're not losing weight, you still feel inflamed, it's because you are consuming these oils. So quickly, as a review, we're talking about the Crisco baking sticks or the tub. Any partially hydrogenated or hydrogenated oil that is in a product, like a baked good, vegetable oil, and pure canola oil. If you can ask about, when you're out at a restaurant and you can ask, what's this food cooked in? What type of oil? If they give you the option to request a different oil, like the ones we're going to talk about next, it might be worth the ask instead of just, taking whatever they give you. Now, if you are ordering smart at a restaurant and not having the fried food, you'll run into less issues anyway, because if they're making your order to order and it hasn't been pre-made and you request a chicken breast be, cooked in, coconut oil or an avocado oil for example, a lot of restaurants will be accommodating because so many people are asking questions and speaking out. So for the next segment here, we are going to switch into some of the other cooking oils that I would recommend you use. So let's start off first by talking about olive oil. Well, we're going to cover olive oil, avocado oil, coconut oil, and then just touch briefly on butter. Okay, so now we're back with round 2 of talking about our oils, and we're going to dive into some of the healthier cooking oils that I would recommend you pick up and start experimenting with if you don't already have them. So olive oil is probably one of the more commonly used oils, and which is great. It's anti-inflammatory, whereas the other ones we spoke about earlier were highly inflammatory. Olive oil has antioxidant properties as well as anti-inflammatory properties. So it makes it a really good option. It's a heart-healthy food, and it has a lot of health benefits, and cognitive health, with the omegas makes it a really good choice for cognitive health and bone health. We just want to be careful that we are choosing smart options of olive oil. This particular one that I have is from Aldi. I have in the past bought better quality oils. I picked this up in a rush, but I will tell you that it's not my most favorite olive oil. I do look for organic. I do make sure that it's extra virgin olive oil. And if it's not extra virgin, basically you'll be buying like a heavily processed oil or refined oil, and the extra virgin olive oil has the more beneficial properties. We also want to make sure that our olive oil is cold pressed, so minimal heating is used when it's processing because it helps preserve the nutrient density of the oil. And I actually looked on this label and I couldn't find where it said it was cold pressed. But those would be the 3 things that you would want to look for in an olive oil: organic, extra virgin, and cold pressed. And there are so many really good options out there that have all 3 of those. Now, I don't really cook in high heat with olive oil because it has a super low heat threshold. And basically what that means is if you have a low threshold heat oil and you heat it up, it will create oxidative stress in your system, and that's what's going to also help to contribute to the free radicals. So it's best to use olive oil for room temperature options like tossing a salad or using it in a homemade salad dressing. Those are really good options for an olive oil. Coconut oil, which is like all the rage lately, has so many different health benefits, and actually I always recommend coconut oil as something that you would incorporate into your gut healing protocol because it's like 50% lauric acid. Lauric acid is awesome for the gut. So if you're not cooking a lot with coconut oil, start doing that so that you can help take care of your gut long term. Coconut oil also is very good at being effective at fighting pathogens like bacteria and viruses. And then as we consume it, it's stored by the body as energy instead of fat because it's a medium chain fatty acid, which MCT oil is pulled from coconut oil. So that's an option. Now, what I look for in a coconut oil, and this was from Aldi as well, and they did on this label indicate that it's organic, it's unrefined, it's cold pressed and it's a, you know, virgin oil. And I do appreciate that, you know, Aldi carries this at such a fantastic price. So you can get coconut oil at so many different places now, but those again would be the things that you're looking for, is that it's a virgin coconut oil, cold pressed and unrefined. And coconut oil has a high heat threshold, so you can use coconut oil for baking. You can put it, you know, I put it on the stovetop in this, you know, roasting vegetables. It has a high heat, so you can use it pretty much anywhere. I even add it to smoothies once in a while, and I have a container in my bathroom because I use it for eye makeup remover too. So it is multi-purpose. Let's see. Okay, avocado oil is probably the least common still of these oils. But holy cow, I use it all the time. It's been known to lower blood pressure, improve heart health, and increase the absorption of nutrients, which is awesome. You want to make sure that you're getting a high quality avocado oil. So again, organic is best, extra virgin, cold pressed, and unrefined. So make sure that you are looking for those things when you are buying your oils. Like you can see right here, it has a 500-degree smoke point, so it's actually ideal for stovetop cooking, like sauteing your veggies in, as well as coconut oil. So these I would use when it comes to heating up your foods in oils, and olive oil would be for cold applications because it has such a low heat threshold. Now, the pure butter, I love Kerrygold. It just tastes amazing. This is butter from grass-fed cows, and again, it's a saturated fat, but we are now finding out through research that saturated fat should not have gotten the bad rap that it did back in the 60s and 70s when we were pushed to start consuming canola oil and vegetable oil. Our country as a whole would have been a lot better off. I use Irish butter not as much as I do the other oils, but if I want something super decadent tasting, I will mix like a little slab of butter with a little bit of it's really good with avocado oil, especially in a cast iron pan if you want to like saute up some vegetables in that. This combination, a little bit of both, is divine, especially with doing chicken stove top as well. Oh, and the coconut oil I use as a spray as well. So there's your rundown. So you can very clearly see the healthier options from the unhealthy options. And if you have any questions, let me know. There are other oils out there that you can use that are also very healthy for you. I chose the ones that I use the most and the ones that are the most common. But if you're using things like, you know, pumpkin seed oil or something like that, or walnut oil, you know, there's other oils that are out there that you can use for different applications. I just wanted to go over the most common and to make sure that you are steering clear of the higher inflammatory oils.